So today I wanted to showcase a really cool feature that I thought would be really useful for new grads. As a new grad myself, I find myself often looking in textbooks or trying to find step-by-steps online. And sometimes it takes you to web pages that are really helpful that have little YouTube videos, or you hit a paywall and you're like, oh, I just wish I could watch that video or see a step-by-step instruction on how to do things. And if you haven't been showed by a mentor before, then you're all alone in the hospital, this can be a really great opportunity to ask for some support from somebody who's willing to help you. So Sage is my mentor, but also my research companion. And so I had a patient who needed a spleen FNA. And so I asked Sage to walk me through the steps of how to FNA a spleen, what I need to think about before, like, so example, coagulation testing, and what risks I should warn the owner about. And so I just reprocessed and let Sage kind of think through it. So it was a really awesome response, very thorough. So for example, we talked about doing a minimum database, so getting a PCV total solids and a coag profile before poking such a bloody organ. We also talked about fasting before sedation, which is one of those things that sometimes we would forget when we're so focused on the spleen. We forget about kind of, as a new grad, some of the more basic stuff that doesn't come as second nature to us. So fasting. Then kind of thinking about big picture, so splenic tumors, looking at other areas, that kind of stuff. They even talk about the supplies, which I thought was really wonderful, so that if you didn't have a technician with you, or if you needed to tell the technician what to grab for you, you can like really specifically lay out what you would like available for when you start the procedure. They walk you through the actual FNA itself, including positioning, when to aspirate versus non-aspirate, how to prep the slide, and then what to do after the procedure, which I think this is really, really important. And I'm really glad that this was included in the final, response, because it's really important after we poke an organ, especially the spleen, to monitor things like the heart rate, to re-AFAS the animal and check for all that kind of things. And then it also walks me through the risks of what I should tell the owner before going into it. So obviously the most important one is bleeding, and we identify that as our headline risk. And it also gives us some really nice stats, which I think is super helpful to tell the owner some really specific numbers. And then we talk about like some things that are, bound to happen with splenic sampling, which is non-diagnostic or misleading results. It even goes over why, talking about the tissue architecture and the difficulty testing between reactive versus patient discomfort, sedation risks, infected needle tracking, contraindications, etc. And then it gives me all of my sources. So super helpful as a new grad to have something as thorough as this, and helps me catch mistakes before I even make them. So thanks, Grad.